All right, everybody, welcome back to the Coffee Q&A. It is, what is it? It is Friday, March 29th, and we're here with our Leche Flan. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. We are the Coffee Q&A every day at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. We talk about coffee and answer questions and all that. So how y'all doing today? Hope it's going well. Today we've got one of my favorite desserts, Leche Flan from the Philippines. This is one of the more, I want to say ubiquitous, but it's really one of the more celebrated desserts in the Philippines. Now, last week, I think it was, we did was it last week or a couple weeks ago, we did the Sancerval, which is my personal favorite dessert. But I would say that this is probably the Filipinos' favorite dessert, the Leche Flan. And it's really a simple dish that is just lovely and luxuriant. Now, this is a dessert that the Taste Atlas said is the third best custard in the world. Mom, good morning, man. How are you doing today? Sorry to show you food on such a Ramadan morning. But the Taste Atlas said that this is the third best custard in the world. And I was like, third best. So I was curious to know, like, what's the best, right? Evidently, number one is American frozen custard. Number two is French creme brulee. Okay, I get the creme brulee thing. I can see that that would be in the running. But American frozen custard? Now, I've had a lot of frozen custard. I've had, cups. I've done the whole tour in Wisconsin, cups, and the one that looks like Arnold's Diner and from Happy Days. And then, I've been to also Culver's and all this. I've had a lot of these frozen custard. And what is frozen custard? Frozen custard is basically ice cream. So milk, sugar, eggs, and the fat content in American custard must be 20% or greater. Any less, it's just considered ice cream. Above 20% is custard. But to say that the frozen custard of America that's made in a special machine for churning is equivalent or can even be comparable to creme brulee or any kind of flan or this kind of custard, I'm not buying it. I think it's just a way for them to, to claim superiority. The French creme brulee, okay. There's very similarities there. The Spanish flan, okay, I get that. So, I don't know. But this is what it is. This is it. One of the really nice ones. It's really super simple, right? Super simple. We're talking eggs, milk, sugar, and maybe just a little bit of vanilla. And you can see there's a nice caramel top with it. Now, typically you'll make this by combining eggs with not just regular milk, but you're going to use both a combination of evaporated milk and sweetened condensed milk. And you're going to just basically mix all that together, maybe with a little bit of vanilla. And then in a pan, you're going to caramelize some sugar. And after you caramelize the sugar, you're going to pour that sugar into a pan. And in the tradition of the Philippines, they have this particular pan that's kind of like oblong, oval shape, called the llanera, Llanera. And you'll pour the sugar mixture into the bottom of that, the caramelized sugar that you basically take heat water. You take sugar, heat in the pan until it melts and turns brown. Pour it in. Then you let that cool down a bit. Then you layer on the mixture, and then you put that into a steam bath in your oven. So basically, you get a bigger container, like a roasting pan. Fill that with water. Put the llanera inside that. Stick it in the oven for I think it's 350 degrees for maybe 45 minutes. And that steam power of the oven basically creates the custard, and it's got this nice, lovely texture, right? The texture. It's not as shaky. This particular one is the one that my mom makes, and actually Filipinos that have tried this consider this to be one of the very best versions of it that they've had. This is not it's not like Jell-O. It doesn't really shake, right? If you look at this, it's not shaking, right? But it's very nice. It's nice and velvety. It's creamy. It's thick. It's robust. It's really just a beautiful, beautiful example. And why am I showing this to you? Because this is something we asked you would serve at Spro every once in a while. We've been serving this since first started in 2006, and yeah, it's really great. And so we had some because I gave some to a friend of mine the other day, and I was like, let me keep a small piece because the container. Because nowadays we don't really use the llanera, right? We just use basically a bread pan, a 9-inch bread pan, and the to-go containers, that I'm using to give them to people is like it doesn't fit the whole loaf, right? So I get to cut off a little piece, stick it in there. It fits really beautifully, even though it's cut. Looks really great. Nice presentation, but means that I get a little bit to play around with. So what we're going to do today is we're going to mix this with some of our Philippine coffee, the Philippine Sitio Bellis. This is from Out of Office Coffee Roasters in Los Angeles, California, but actually it's roasted by my friend Leanne Navarro of Dear Globe Coffee here in Baltimore. So this is something we got a couple months ago. Niel, welcome to the show, man. How are you doing today? Good to see you. So we're going to get our coffee rolling. I've got the water heating. And as you know, we're going to always use our normal recipe of, I'll zoom in a little bit more. It feels so far away. 24 grams. Okay, 24.1 should be great. The Sitio Bellis. So we got all Filipino flavors going on here today. We've got our, and like yesterday, we did fairly well with our grind setting right on the center 20 mark yesterday. So this, of course, is a different coffee than the House Nation with different density and different everything. So we're just going to kind of go by the feel. We're going to try where we were yesterday and see how it goes. There's still some more of that coffee. So how's your morning coming along? Everything good? Hopefully it's well. I have been watching YouTube videos all morning. I was watching a video on how to do sound compression better. And if you're not familiar with sound compression is something it's a tool that you'll use in the editing phase, whether you do it for audio editing, whether you're doing soundtracks or movies or YouTube videos or music. You're going to use this compressor to remove the peaks from your signal where it really will start to maybe distort or just kind of be out of sync. So it brings it together and makes it tighter and just makes it sound a little bit better. I'm trying to work more on my skills in that respect because I just don't feel very confident at it. All right, here's our setup. We're going back with the origami, and I don't know, I was thinking about it before we started the show earlier today. I was like, I've been using origami every day now, I think. Is it getting stale? Do we need to go? I was thinking maybe we need to go to something else. So we'll see. Maybe we will. We'll have to go do something else. We can't just do origami all the day, all the time. A little bit of static here, a little static cling going on. Mostly chaff. So let's shake that out. It is looking a little bit coarser at this setting than the House Nation. But that's all right. We're going to roll with it. Let's get our water out here. Zero the scale. What I do like about this particular scale is it does have everything built in. The timer and the weight. I gotta say that's very convenient. All right, 25 grams. So really, I find that once you get to the equilibrium point of the water to the weight of the coffee, that's when it starts to, it dispense itself. So about 75 grams, a little bit over this time. "30 seconds. Looks like we got a pretty good wetting of the coffee. Just a little bit there. Let it flow through. I was reading some forums, and they were talking about, what kind of brew method should I be using, and brew recipe, and they were like, oh, there's all these different guys, Yasuda method or whatever. And I was thinking maybe I should just start to promote this style of brewing called onocoffee method, just keeping your water level. I'll formalize it, and then we'll figure that out. So just as always, keep the water, or just keep the coffee saturated. Let the coffee's grind size do the work for you. Now we're probably going a little bit faster, 162, only at 1:30. So probably for this coffee next time we'll go a little bit finer to get that to elongate the brew time. So really on 200 grams, 2 minutes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We're doing all right, actually. I think this style of brewing does take a little bit more work because we're just keeping the water level at the same height, saturating the coffee so that we continue the extraction. You kind of want to keep on it so that it doesn't just stop, because once the water flows through it, nothing else is happening. So 258, 243, probably could go a little bit faster. 270. I'm starting to feel a bit of pressure now, 255, 283. So we still have another 60 grams to go, and we only got 30 seconds to pour it because we want to finish 330, 4 minutes. I'm under the gun, 20 more seconds, 20 more seconds, 20 more grams, or 40 more grams. Raising the water level just a little bit. Now we're going to be a little bit slower than normal. 334, 330. 340. 348, 340. Okay, so we're going to give it the final dispensing. 350 milliliters of water. There we go, 350.4 or 350.9. And about 4 minutes. All right. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Nice thing, I just toss it out like that. It's very simple to evacuate. Turn off the scale. Put that aside, and here is our elixir. How's the smell? Let's do some pouring. Nice warm tones. Ooh, nice good body. Nice rich coffee flavor. Maybe just a hint of tobacco. Definitely coffee, cacao, like a dark cacao. Well, not dark cacao. Dark would be dark chocolate. This is more cacao, like a cacao nib kind of thing. That little bit of like slight dryness. Oh, this is actually going to be a nice, I think this will go be a nice foil to our Leche Flan. Let's have a look at our setup here. Let's make a nice frame for it. Yeah, there we go. That's nice. So that's going to be our little bite here. So one of the things about this is very creamy. It's not terribly sweet, but it's nice and creamy, a really velvety creaminess. Like, you have sometimes you get the flan and it's more like a gelatinous, like a gelatin, like a jello kind of like texture. Maybe not as hard as jello, but softer. This definitely is a little more firm. This is going to be a little more resistant, a little more like creaminess over the palate. It's really quite lovely. And what you want with something like that is that, you could go with something light if you want, and that's perfectly fine. But I really like balancing that sweet creaminess with a nice, more, not necessarily bold roast. Like Leanne, who roasted this coffee, is not a medium roaster. She's definitely a lighter roaster, but this is a nice, richer coffee. So you want something that's going to be richer, a little bit more bold, a little bit more forceful, a little bit more bones to stand up to the creaminess and sweetness of the Leche Flan. So let's give it a try. One thing to keep in mind, this is what you use to eat Leche Flan, a spoon. This is a teaspoon. You can use a tablespoon if you want. I actually asked my aunt about this. I was like, what's the proper, I never really thought about it, but I was thinking about it earlier and I was like, don't we normally eat this with a spoon? So I asked her, I was like, what do you eat this? She's like, we use the spoon and then you can use the fork to assist. I was like, oh, brilliant. We will do that. Okay, so let's have a look here. Let's do a little bit of a close-up. A close-up would be nice. You can see the nice sides here, nice and creamy, a little bit of caramelization happening here. This is actually, when you're actually making it, you're putting it into a mold, this is actually the bottom of the flan that goes against the sugar. So it's got a nice glossiness to it, right? Look at that. So let's go into it. Oh, such good resistance. So pretty. Look at that. My goodness. All right. And then we've got there's a little bit of the caramel at the bottom. I'm going to take that. Let's go back to it. And so this flan is thicker, more viscous, more velvety. Where you have a lot of flans that are very light, and this is definitely not light. This is more unctuous, more heavy, more just like engaging. Like there's a creaminess and almost a gluey like stickiness because it's so thick compared to a lot of other flans, or especially compared to creme brulee. Like this can stand on its own, whereas creme brulee cannot. Creme brulee has to be contained in a brulee, and then you fire it. Now, I guess you could fire this if you wanted to, but maybe that's something for another day. All right, so let's have another bite. Now, you can see this serving size is pretty small. This is a very dense, thick, rich, robust kind of dessert. You really won't need more than this. Like certainly you could eat a whole loaf of it, but you wouldn't probably enjoy it after a while because it's so rich and thick. And if you're a diabetic, it's probably a bad idea. Oh, the hair coffee. Oh yeah, that's the way to do it. In fact, that last bite that you saw me take, that was actually too big. You really want to take a smaller, maybe just like this. See that little tiny portion there? Just take that, and that will you can take that little piece, place it on your tongue, use the tongue to compress it to the top of your mouth, your palate, spread it out, get it like coating your palate. Oh, very luxuriant, very, very luxuriant. Mom says it looks really sweet. It's not terribly sweet. Like, sorry, I can't eat. Maybe if you've had kataifi. No, I'm sorry, not kataifi. Kataifi, maybe, yeah, kataifi. But also, if you've had kunafa, and if you're not familiar with kunafa, it's basically this Middle Eastern dessert that has like vermicelli noodles that are kind of fried in a layer, and it has like this type of cheese. What's it called? I had some for a while there. Namaste, not namaste cheese, but there's a very particular cheese that they use, a little bit salty, and they bake the layer. They bake or they pan heat the layers together with some pistachio and like a honey sauce. Similar in sweetness to that, not more. I would say maybe just a little bit less sweet than that, actually. But it's much more rich and creamy than it is sweet. Like, it is sweet. I can't say that it's not, and especially when you consider ingredients, we're talking sugar, sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk. So those three together are going to give you a lot of sugars. So you don't want to, you don't really want to eat too much of it. You do want to eat too much of it, but you really don't. Of course, lots of eggs. It's mostly eggs, milk, sugar. I mean, all the best things for you, all the best things, but all the worst things, right? All right. Let's have a little bit more. So I highly suggest, now that I've had this, wherever you are in the world, go find yourself a Filipino place and give it a try. Mom, I think there's a great place in 21st Street, Queens, I think it's called. I've never been there. My friends talk about it. When I come to New York, I only go to Manhattan. I'm like, I don't even want to go to Brooklyn. I was like, I don't want to go to Brooklyn. So the idea of going to Queens is like, I'm not going out there. That's crazy. But there's supposed to be a lot of great Filipino restaurants out there, probably closer where you live. And if, Omniel, if you're somewhere in the world that has Filipino restaurants, this is probably worth checking out. Now, one of the things about this, like most Filipino cuisine, especially kind of the national dish, the adobo, where you go and who makes it will depend greatly on the actual results. Like, this is the example that I use. My mom makes this. This is what I grew up eating, and I think it's the best. And I know I'm biased in that respect, but a lot of my friends, Filipino and otherwise, they all will say that this is the best they've had. And so there's a textural difference with this one that is very much different than even what a lot of Filipinos are producing. So a lot of them tend to be a little bit softer, a little bit more loose. But, give it a try. I think you'd enjoy it. Omniel says, had flan. Yes, but the flan from the Philippines is different than flan from other Latin countries. There's something a little bit different. I don't know what it is. Like, I'll go to Mexican restaurants. Some of my friends own these restaurants. I'm like, they're like, oh, have the flan. I was like, okay, I'll have the flan. How do you like it? Oh, it's fabulous. It's not as good as this. I don't want to tell them that. That's just not nice. It's like they put so much effort into it. It's like, it's still very good. Don't get me wrong. It's still very, very enjoyable. But it's just not that. Anyway, think about that for the weekend. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to head out. I've got some deliveries to make today to some of our clients, and then get some coffees out in the world. Got a thing going on. I got some family stuff on Easter, of course, and then birthday parties tomorrow. And so back again on Monday, 10 a.m. We'll be talking about something else with coffee. So hopefully you'll have the time to come join us. If not, watch us on the replay. And until next time, hope you have a great one. See you then. Thanks, Mom.